Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, agents. I'm Matty Carl, and welcome back to the Division Let's Talk special on the state of the game. This is part 2, and I'm hoping to get through this without having to do a part 3. Before I begin, I want to make a quick comment on Skillup's video he made about the game being dead today. Now, that doesn't sound like I want it to sound, but it's what his title said, so that's what I'm going to say. Now, I have made several videos about this game dying, but I tell you the truth, this game won't die until the developers pull the plug, and they can't pull the plug until they've met their obligation of putting out the very last DLC. I will disagree with him on the communication being open and cooperative. There's very little communication going on. Today was, or the state of the game, not today, but yesterday's state of the game was a huge step forward in admitting that there was issues with the game and trying to do it. But we need more. We need a plan in place that will tell us how it's going to be fixed, not just that they're looking into it. We want to know why. We want to know how. We want to know when things are going to be fixed. And that's really where it's at. They are now finally saying this stuff to us, but it's not really going to mean anything unless they act on it, and that is what the community needs to see and hear. I also find the game isn't dead because many of you, when I ask you to add me on Xbox Live, you have done so because you want to play this game, and I have recently been helping subs go through the underground and get geared up. So no, it's not dead. That yes, there are a lot of people that have left, but that doesn't mean the game is dead. To many people it is. That's just the way it is. And Skillup's right. If you come to these videos and you post in the comment section that the game is dead, it is dead to you. That's fine. That's perfectly fine that your opinion is there. But you still care. We understand you still care because you're coming to these videos. You're still watching Division videos and you're still coming. So we'll either live long enough to watch the game die or we'll die trying to make the game live. That's, with that said, let's get back to the state of the game because we got a lot to cover and I don't want to do a third part to this. Now, let's open with his comments about named weapons. This is how I know that while Hamish is part of the team, they are failing to even listen to what Hamish wants, because Hamish says named weapons, there's a reason we don't really use them. They aren't that good. And if Hamish doesn't think that, there's a lot of people on the dev team that don't think that. And so it's not that hard. So this is the real disconnect that I'm seeing. Here we have a community watching two guys in the state of the game talk about relatively easy design fix, something that is easy enough. We've seen them do it before. It's in the game right now, and yet the developers outright refuse to make these weapons good. Why? Why are they not? Why is Massive refusing to make named weapons an actually good part of the game, part of the meta? We know for a fact that they can buff and nerf weapons easily, and the AUG, Vector, and G36 all agree with me. So to me, the issue is that the developer, Massive, doesn't want to fix this issue. Plain and simple. If they did, they would. We as a community have been saying how terrible these weapons are since day one, and after all, they modeled this after Destiny's exotic weapons, and those are the main weapons people use in Destiny. Even after yesterday's empathetic view that I had, this boggles my mind as to just how stupid a decision it is by the developers that this low-hanging fruit can't be done. Really, how hard is it to take the top tier weapons? You have 3 versions of the G36, 3 versions of the M1A, and you have 3 versions of various other guns. How hard is it to take the top tier, the very top, and make it a named weapon? You could even go so far as to make it take up 2 slots so you only have that weapon because it's so powerful. Like, you could do that and nobody would complain. People would be like, oh my gosh, I have the best weapon in the game. It may take up 2 slots and I don't have another weapon other than my sidearm, but that is what someone would say who has this weapon, and make them extremely hard to get. Don't throw them out there. Make it like a 0.01% chance that it drops so that those who have it have a very pride seeing in getting that weapon. That's really what it is. And that's really just the case here. Is there's low-hanging fruit that we need to see happen in the game, and those are things that are easy. Those are givens. Now, Hamish talks about something that we can spend some time on, and that is the Dark Zone and dedicated PvP gameplay. Maybe this is why the DZ doesn't work. Hamish really nails it from his perspective. The Dark Zone isn't a dedicated PvP space, and yet people in the Dark Zone are trying to make it that. It's not a dedicated PvP space. It was, as Hamish said, never meant to be that way, yet there are people in there who feel that it is, and they are the ones who are griefing people. Making the dedicated space for PvP would probably eliminate a lot of the griefing that is going on. We need an arena, or we need something. Honestly, he says that PvE only Dark Zones aren't the solution. I gotta say, it works in Destiny though. The game is, this game is closely compared to Destiny time and time again, and I really have nothing outside of that to say, but I think the solution needs to be thought up, and it needs to be pretty high on the priority list, because a lot of people have left the game because the Dark Zone isn't what it is, or they're being griefed in the Dark Zone, or something to that effect. And I know it's probably not a PvE Dark Zone, but there is a solution out there, and we need to get that nailed down so that it can do. So the next part that we're going to dive into is the sponginess and player health. Yannick really nails this one as well, because what he says is spot on. We need to find another approach to difficulty. Right now, health is all we have, but I feel like, yes, lowering the health would work for the most part, but lowering the health and toughness doesn't make it, it doesn't make it better. Like, it doesn't decrease the difficulty. It doesn't make for an interesting, fun fight. But I feel like, yeah, lowering the health will work for the most part. Lower their health and toughness. Lower, like the enemies, lower their health and lower their toughness, but make it much more of a regulated boss fight when the bosses come out. Because right now, bosses are just, they're just elites with a name over the top of them. Increase the boss health. Make it that they're the ones that are the bullet sponges. They'll take 10 clips to bring down. And we can even give them minions to complement them, to add in a tactical style of play. One idea is that massive, have a boss with a massive chain gun, and he is surrounded by shield enemies, making it difficult to shoot. This is a great example of tactics. Another would be like snipers who are hard to see and have immunity to pulse. Boss battles can easily be designed for being hard, and this is how you do it. Not everyone has to be a bullet engagement, and I think the first incursion, Massive said that we would need to use tactics and teamwork, and that was great. We thought, how wonderful is this, that something other than shooting a guy until he's dead is what we need to do here. Then we found out what it was, and it was just shooting guys until they died. Building an epic experience is what this game should be about. It's what the Division should be, and there are no epic experiences in the end game. We've seen flashes like this from helo drops, that helo that explodes and crashes in clear sky, but outside of that, we haven't seen much. There's not an epic boss fight other than maybe the UN building fight with the helicopter. There's nothing outside of that really tackles this epic feel like this game is awesome. Maybe dropping a giant tank of napalm, something like that. We need more outside the box designs, not more shoot this thing until it dies. So I'm going to skip over a few things they mentioned because it's not very important in terms of I've covered it numerous times in videos. I don't need, to. But Yannick said something about around minute 26, and that scavenging doesn't work. Scavenging. Ugh. We keep hearing about scavenging over and over again. Low-hanging fruit. This is something that we're talking about. There's easy low-hanging fruit. This one actually isn't as low-hanging as you would think, because the idea for scavenging is much more advanced, and it goes into a huge backset of probably code and stuff like that, where you need to adjust a lot of stuff. And he said that it only works in the leveling part of the game, which is true, because it only works on unnamed mobs. That is some factual evidence right there. You heard it from Yannick, and it's just everybody else has been BSing us. Luckily, they mention it here, and we can now call for a fix to it. It's been an issue since day one, and why they thought putting it on the Nomad set would be useful is beyond me, when they knew full well that it wasn't going to be useful at all. So my idea for scavenging is to make it more useful. Make weapon and gear drop a percentage based on how high your scavenging is, and you getting better loot drops based on that. So if you get 200% scavenging, you get a reclaimer, a deadeye, or a sentry set with a good roll. Like, there's so many ways to work in the rolls, because there's so many rolls, like a percentage. Like, if you have the highest scavenging possible, you get the best roll possible on the gear. You won't even need to, or at least what they think the best roll on the gear is. You don't need to go ahead and do a recalibration to the gear if you have the highest scavenging and you're going for that. But make it hard to get there. And if you have 65%, you maybe get a reclaimer with an okay roll. But the point is, all percentages would have the same equal amount of ability to drop the same gear. It's just the rolls are affected by scavenging. And it says you have a better chance of getting better equipment. So that's the way this works in. If you make scavenging useful, people will use it. The next thing they talked about is performance mod sucking. Yeah, that's true, and I agree, and they agree. The stash size is too small. Yep, that's true. Really quickly, they talk about all the bugs in the game, and they agree that they should all be fixed, which is great because coming from the developer, you know, a lot of developers don't actually like to fix bugs. So really quickly, though, people are spamming chat saying hire skill up. That's not how things work. Hiring skill up isn't going to save the game. It isn't going to make a difference because skill up right now is he's giving away all of his ideas for free, but there's not a room on the budget for a guy that just comes up with ideas. Everybody on the team, I'm sure, is coming up with ideas. They may not be the greatest ideas, but they're ideas nonetheless, and they're digging through all of our content. They're watching videos, they're watching Reddit, they're watching the forums. All of this stuff is being sought out and looked over and taken, and they are taking this stuff and using it and putting it into a box and saying, okay, these are the things that we want. I guarantee you there's the huge list sitting in massive somewhere of all of the cool things that they want to do with the game. I mean, especially like the mobile companion app and stuff like that, where you get to fly in the drone and help your friends when you're not in the game. Like, that was really cool. But if you notice, it's not in the game, and really cool stuff like that often falls to the wayside when there's not time to implement it, or it becomes too difficult, or there's, you know, issues involved with the code, stuff like that. It's just not, I think that they should actually add that into the game as a part of the game that you can do from inside the base of operations when you're on an operation or something like that. That would be really cool to do regardless of where you are in the game. So really quickly, shout out to Turbo Commando for the love. Yeah, I was reading the comments while I am listening to the state of the game, and I see a shout out to me in the middle of the chat. So thanks for that. I wish I could watch these live and hang out with you guys and comment, but sadly I am asleep most of the time these are going on. But maybe I'll come and hang out next week. I'll stay up extra late and I'll do that. So that is pretty much it on the major issues they addressed. I know I probably missed a few on a few of the things, and if they're on your mind, go ahead and drop them down in the comments and I'll cover them. They didn't mention the survival DLC, which is pretty cool. I don't disagree with them not mentioning anything about survival because it's important that we stick to the focus of what it is, and that's really focusing on there's a problem in the game, we don't want to gloss over it, and we don't want to shine you on with the survival DLC and make you go ahead and forget all about all the issues, because, you know, we get enough of that in today's day and age where something happens and then something else happens over here and there's big conspiracies and blah 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 blah. We don't need that kind of negativity right now. What we need to focus on the things that need to be fixed. We need to focus on helping Massive get back to where it is. We need to come up with great ideas, post on the forums, and I'm calling it, hey, if you're listening to this, come up with some ideas. You can post them down in my comments. You can go over to the Ubisoft forum, make a Reddit account, go over to Reddit, post it on Reddit. You know, I don't really post on Reddit a whole lot because of how much there's toxicity, because of if I post something on Reddit, everybody thinks that I'm just trying to promote my YouTube channel, which is not the case. I could care less about promoting my YouTube channel on Reddit, but I don't post over there a whole lot because of the toxicity that I get from that, and so I try to limit it to just posting certain things. I'm not trying to do it for YouTube karma or Reddit karma or anything like that. I'm just posting because I want my ideas to go out into the world and people to comment on them, and it's how we discuss these things and really get it. So there was still plenty of time before the survival is actually released, so we'll see those videos in time and we'll get these ideas when we go. So I guess really quickly, let's roll through some of the credit. It was a little surprising that only 1% of people who got Underground are level 40. That just shows how tough it is to get to level 40. I'm level 32 and I haven't been playing Underground a whole lot because I've been going through and doing a lot of other stuff. 50% of the people that got Underground are level 13 or lower, and 25% are still below rank 7, which means that a pretty good amount of people actually went through, they did the easiest portions of Underground, and now they're rank 13. only 40%, 47% of the players in the game have over a 230 gear score, 23% are between 200 and 230, and 30% are below 200. 14% of the players are playing Dragon's Nest, 8% are doing Falcon's Laws, and 4% are doing Clear Sky. That number is actually more concerning to me, because what it is it shows how very little of the incursions people are playing, and that is a huge issue. There were some numbers about the Dark Zone that people playing the game right now, the active user base, they're spending 28% of their time in the Dark Zone, and that's actually a pretty low number compared to what the Dark Zone should be. And really what we should do is be getting that, you know, to where it's actually fun, and you spend the majority of your time in the Dark Zone, or you spend majority of time, it's like a 50-50 you should be doing. But actually, that maybe 28% actually isn't that bad, because when you consider all the other stuff in the game, you can actually do a lot of stuff in the game. So that's pretty much it. So like I said, if you missed anything, or if I missed anything, go ahead and put it in the comments, and we'll save it for another video. I'm going to try and answer questions off Twitter one of these times. I'll do a complete video where all I do is answer your Twitter questions. I'll have to figure out a hashtag or something like that to go ahead and do that. Remember, I do have this giveaway that I'm doing with another YouTube channel, and we'll get to that. It's coming up really quickly. We're going to end that, and we'll be giving that away, and that's great. There's probably, I think you actually have a really good chance of winning that. There's not a huge amount of entry. It's below 1,000 people have entered, so you know, stuff like that. So if you want to win a free Division season pass that you can get, you know, go ahead and do that. I'm going to start promoting it a little bit more as we come to the end of it, because I want people to sign up, and I want people to go there, and I want to give this away so that somebody can go ahead and maybe it'll reinvigorate them and you know, get them all set up. And we don't have to, you know, you can, if you already have it, you can still get it. It's not, you know, it's not that you have to use it on yourself. You know, if you get it, you can sell it, give it away to somebody else or something like that. We want you to use it, but you know, it's yours to do whatever what you want with. So that's pretty much it. It's nothing but words without a plan if they don't do anything at this point, and I hope that they can at least relay the information to the people so that we know things are being taken care of. That's my only ask right from this, is that, you know, I don't care what's being fixed. I want to know a plan of how we're going to get there. I want to know when we're going to get it fixed, and if that's 1.4, great. Let us know that it's going to be 1.4. It would be nice to know when we're going to expect the majority of the fixes. I assume it's 1.4, but I want to hear it from them. I want to hear it from them that they're 1.4. At least we have a target date as to when these fixes are going to be in. So if you enjoyed this video, please drop a like and consider subscribing to us for all things Division related. For everyone here at the Division Let's Talk, I am Mounty Carl, and we will see you again in New York City. Agent out.